Who's your player of the season?
Hazard. I think he's the best player in the league. There's no doubt he had a massive drop-off last season, but I think over the 3 years, his first year he was player of the year. I think this year, Kante's won. It's difficult to argue, really, because Kante's been outstanding. I just think, if it was me, Kante is more of someone who is it's a bit harsh maybe to say a destroyer, because he's shown out his quality on the ball. That's how you think of the goal he created that. I think for Hazard at Bournemouth, but I just think that player who gets you off the edge of your seat. So I think I'd just go for Hazard.
Gary, do you agree?
No, I've gone for Kante. Just a huge influence on this Chelsea team. I saw the way they celebrated with him on Friday night, actually. They threw him up in the air, amongst a couple of other players, but there just seemed to be it was almost like thank you, because I think they realised the job he's done. I think, for me, he's been the player of the season.
Manager?
Oh, Conte, without a doubt. I think first year in the Premier League to do what he's done, he's probably favourite to do the double. You'd expect him to beat Arsenal there. And don't forget, he didn't have the... You think of Pep Guardiola, he probably knew at Christmas he was coming into Man City, and I think he was seen at times speaking to the owners, he was probably setting things up. Conte may have been doing the same, I don't know. But he had Italy in the summer as well. I think his pre-season would have been interrupted, so it wouldn't have been easy. No break in the summer, going straight into that. And the change of system, this level, we'll always talk about that. But getting top players to go to something and succeed when they've never played that way before, when they've had success before, playing a different way, he made some big decisions and they've paid off.
I'm sure you agree, Gary, a title in his first season in England.
Yeah, outstanding. I think special mention to 3 English managers, Sean Dyche, Eddie Howe, Paul Clement, for what they've done. I think they deserve that. And you always say, well, the Championship. I've gone for a slightly alternative view. At the start of the season, I thought Tottenham would dip. I thought they would go backwards, just purely because of playing in the Champions League, the squad, the lack of investment in terms of compared to others. I thought they would go backwards in respect of sort of just the toughness of mixing that. I think for Maurizio Pochettino to achieve what he's done this year and to get Tottenham into second, to beat their overall record, it's the record points ever in the Premier League, for me, is an outstanding managerial achievement, and I think ultimately I've gone for him, but I couldn't disagree with Conte, and you could also make cases for those other three that I've mentioned as well.
Let's have a look where we are then in these Monday Night Football Awards. And the young player next, Gary, Leroy Sané, not in your team.
Yeah, I think just because, I mean, I couldn't argue with Dele Alli. I mean, Dele Alli is absolutely an amazing player. I loved watching him yesterday. He was absolutely brilliant. I just think that ultimately, we sort of know him. I think because he's known to the Premier League and we sort of expect now that he's going to reach that level, that for me, the sort of emerging young player this year, for me, watching him has been Sané. I think that he could be exceptional. And so, yeah, I've gone for him.
And signing of the season, we have already spoken about Kante, so Gary again, Zlatan Ibrahimovic.
Yes, I think that huge impact on United. I think you mentioned, actually, to be fair, a couple of months ago, he probably could be the player of the season until he got injured. But I still think he's been probably the signing. I couldn't argue with Kante, I just got a little bit of variation, to be honest with you. But I think Ibrahimovic, because of his influence, in that EFL Cup final, he carried United through it.
What about the future? One to watch. This is interesting. Gabriel Jesus, Jamie.
Yeah, I think he's going to be a star. I think Aguero may have a problem. I don't know what will happen in the summer, whether he'll stay or go. You think a player of that quality, you keep him. But I think 2 or 3 months into next season, I think he's going to be the first choice striker at Man City, and can be played together. And I think Aguero will have a bigger problem than him.
Explain that one, David Luiz, Gary.
Because I think he's had an outstanding season. He's been dependable, reliable, everything that in the past maybe you could question. John Terry's leaving. Can he next season come back and be the John Terry for Chelsea in this next 2 or 3 seasons? And I think that's just something that's quite interesting to watch.